Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So, Donald Trump won the 2024 election, and in doing so, he flipped back the Rust Belt, including the state of Michigan, by a surprising margin, winning the state by 80,000 votes and getting more raw votes in the state than Biden got in the 2020 election. Almost cracking 50% and doing extraordinarily well in certain places of Metro Detroit and, throughout the state at large. And there's still arguably, one could make the case, some room for growth there. And there's been a lot of people that are wondering, is this an aberration, or could the state cement itself as a red state or a red-leaning state in the future? Because Michigan, it's kind of been seen like the inverse North Carolina, where it usually goes Democrat, but on a really good year like 2016 and now 2024, Republicans could win it. I feel like you could make the case that if the Republican brand continues going down the pathway that it's going down, that in the future, Michigan will be a state that could end up leaning more and more Republican. But we need to make sure that it just doesn't, start and stop at the federal level. If you want to make a state from a blue state to a red state, you got to do better down ballot. You got to take the governorship. You've had Gretchen Whitmer in there for, the past 6 years. It's going to be the past 8 years come 2026. And that's going to be a crucial election for Republicans. It's an open seat. And their odds of winning it, probably one would say, midterm year with a Republican president in the White House, a lot of people would say the odds probably were not super high, conventionally speaking. But we have a massive, massive update that is changing the game, and that is Mike Duggan, who is a popular mayor from Detroit. Everybody in Metro Detroit knows him. He's got a decent favorable rating. He's kind of been a Democrat, but I guess you would say like a 90s Democrat, kind of a more moderate Democrat. He's, tough on crime, but, socially liberal, you name it. But he's been the mayor of Detroit, very popular in 85% Democrat Detroit. He is now running for governor as an independent. A lot of people were saying that he'd run as a Democrat, and I was like, okay, it's time to write this race off. Now he's running as an independent, which is interesting. And I'm not going to say that he can't even win as an independent, but does this make the chances that Republicans have of picking up that seat easier, and could it lead to some positive effects down ballot? Absolutely. And we're going to cover this a little bit more in depth in this video. But first, really quickly, guys, we got to tell you guys about my merch store, because still, we had our Cyber Monday sale, but we still got the Christmas sale going on. You guys can get up to 40% off this week only. This week only. And we have a lot of new arrivals to the collection. You can buy 2, get 1 free, buy 5, get 2 free. Items can be mixed and matched. Doesn't matter which category you buy from. And we have all these great, epic, new designs. We got the I'll Be Home for Christmas mug, the Unburdened by What Has Been mug with the new election map. And we have all of these great and epic Christmas designs and just great new designs in general. We got mugs, ornaments, t-shirts, hoodies, crew neck sweatshirts, long sleeve t-shirts, blankets, posters, wrapping paper, candles, and hats as well. We got 66 5-star reviews. A lot of people, they buy a little skeptical to support the channel, and then they end up loving the merch. And I'd recommend you guys at least check out the merch store. The link will be in the description and pinned comment down below, so you guys can get up to 40% off this week only. So we have the state of Michigan, and this was a flip that I think a lot of people may not have seen coming, even if they thought Trump was going to win, unless they had Trump sweeping every single swing state. I kind of felt as if Michigan would have been a state that Donald Trump could have won, but I wasn't really, ready to say he would win it this cycle. I was like, it's going to be super close. Detroit's corrupt. Certain other cities are corrupt, you name it. But it doesn't really matter, because Donald Trump, at the end of the day, he took the state. He won Macomb County by 14 points or 70,000 votes. He cut Oakland to a 10-point margin, and he got the best showing for a Republican in Wayne County going all the way back to the 1980s. And that was a very, very different Wayne County as well back then. So when you look at it, all around was an extraordinarily impressive performance for Donald Trump. And when you see something like this, when you have a result like this at the federal level, it's very telling about how the state could go in the future. And again, we talk about these down ballot races. That's going to be crucial. Definitely it lags behind sometimes when you have some sort of a realignment going on. That's why Gretchen Whitmer won Macomb County twice, despite Donald Trump winning Macomb County by 14 points. But in 2026, it's going to be an open governor's seat. And now you have an independent candidate who is a prominent independent candidate. Probably if he stays as an independent, he's going to have a floor of about 15 to 20%. And technically he could win if everything goes right, which is why I think he stays as an independent, getting 35 to 40% of the vote. That is possible for Mike Duggan. He will do well in Metro Detroit. And it's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out, because you have a Democrat bench that is full of some candidates that probably, some of these independent voters that might have voted Democrat, they're probably going to be more likely to vote for Duggan when you have people like Jocelyn Benson in the mix as well. There's been talk about the Attorney General, if Dana Nessel wants to go for it. Again, those are some very, just, I guess you would say, crazy individuals. Probably would be worse than Whitmer, one could argue, that are in the mix. And then you have Pete Buttigieg, who moved to the state of Michigan a few years back because he was planning for a political future. And if he actually decides to, go through with this carpet bag governorship run, he's probably not going to win, and it will split the Democrat vote as well. Mike Duggan is from Detroit. He wins convincingly in the city of Detroit. He's the first white mayor of Detroit in half a century. And he does have a lot of appeal to these black voters, even if he was running as an independent, where somebody like Pete Buttigieg, he will turn off a lot of these, minority groups. They're not fans of him. For numerous reasons, whether people want to say it's because, they're more averse to his sexuality or whatever. It's just the way he comes across in general. It just does not sit well with people, period. That's basically the way that it is. He'll do well with some of these like elitist stuck-up types, but that's pretty much it. That's kind of why he really was unable to get his feet on the ground running in a lot of states during the Democrat primary. But especially if you have somebody prominent like Mike Duggan in the race, if Pete Buttigieg is actually going to run for governor of Michigan, what this is going to do is, maybe Duggan gets around 30 to 35% of the vote. Buttigieg, probably you could make the case, would get like 25 to 30. That means it opens the door for a strong Republican candidate to run and win. The question is, who is it going to be? Who's going to run? There's a lot of people that are on this list. I can't really, point to a candidate and say, well, there's somebody that really, I guess you would say, stands out. But hopefully you can find somebody who is optical, somebody who is, I guess you would say, MAGA friendly, somebody that's going to speak to the issues that drive Trump's support in the state of Michigan and get those voters out, or enough of those voters out to the polls to vote for them. They possibly could be elected governor in a three-way race in Michigan. And there will be positive effects, most likely down ballot, if you're running strong candidates for attorney general, for secretary of state, you name it, some of these other statewide offices there. And also Senate, there's a Senate race there. Gary Peters, he probably starts off as the favorite, but who knows who's going to run against him. It's possible that race could be somewhat competitive, at least force Democrats to divert some resources away from states like North Carolina, Georgia, or Maine to make sure those states go red. So either way, it's a win-win. You have this guy who's relatively popular running as an independent because definitely you get to box a Democrat out of power and very likely possibly elect a Republican if this ends up continuing. So we'll see what happens within the next, I guess you would say year or so, because it's early. It's a little bit too early to talk about 2026, but you have your first news for 2026, and it's great news at that. So I'm not sure who the Republicans are going to run. But definitely when you have a strong candidate at the top of the ticket, or you have a favorable result to your party at the top of the ticket, we saw this in 2022 in a lot of places, it definitely helps out down ballot quite a bit. And there are coattails that are there, and what it can do is it can give Republicans a boost. And when you have Republicans doing well in a midterm year that, historically you would say it's not going to be all that favorable to Republicans, especially because Republicans kind of struggle to get out these low propensity voters. Maybe there's signs the ground game has potential. It showed up in 2024. 2026 is a midterm, but if we keep up the momentum there, it's like, yeah, we could cement Michigan's status as a red state, and it's possible you could flip the governorship of Wisconsin, flip the governorship of Arizona. I think Nevada's going to be an easy hold with Lombardo in there. And I think Republicans are going to end up flipping Kansas as well, because it's going to be an open seat. So either way, there's a lot of promise. And if Donald Trump is able to have a good 2 years and the trifecta delivers for the American people, doesn't step on any third rails, overall, you could see an asterisk midterm. You could see I guess you would see reverse 2022. Maybe even find a way to hold the House. We'll see. It just depends on how mid-decade redistricting goes and who exactly we run where and what the state of the country is. It's a long way out, but either way, good news out of Michigan for Republicans come 2026. It's very likely that you either get a Republican governor or you don't get a Democrat governor at a very minimum in the state come 2026. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Red Eagle, out.